Okay, so yet again, Social Security is back in the headlines. Is anybody surprised? I don't think anybody's surprised anymore. It's literally a daily thing at this point, right? All right, so anyway, I want to tell you exactly what went on recently, some remarks that were said by the Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, what he said about Social Security, why a lot of people are having an absolute cow over this situation, and there's remarks right now. A lot of people are really jumping on this opportunity to slam him, to slam the administration, and it basically said, see, told you so. This was the plan all along on Social Security. So I'm going to break it all down for you, let you know exactly what was said, what they mean by this, and I also want to throw my remarks in there as well. Again, I'm going to say this much as well. I know. Who cares about my opinion? I agree with you. Who cares at all? But I do want to throw this out there just so you have an idea of what we can anticipate going forward here because I don't really think this is all that far fetched to make these kind of remarks like this is going to happen at some point. Okay, so anyway, we'll talk about that more a little bit later. I'll tell you all the details, and then at the very end of this, I'll kind of throw my opinion out there as far as this whole situation. And again, I know it doesn't really matter. I just kind of want to throw my 2 cents into there to kind of let you know how this whole thing's likely going to shake out. All right, anyway. So just the other day, the Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, made some remarks on these new baby savings accounts. Have you heard about these? I have not specifically talked about them here on the channel. I did maybe I don't know, maybe 2 months ago or so, within a video or a live stream. I don't even remember where it was. I alluded to it. I talked about it for like 1 minute. Other than that, I have not made a dedicated video talking about this because, to be fair with you, it doesn't really pertain to a lot of people here in this community. So I didn't make a video about it because I thought a lot of you here in this community probably don't really care about it. So I just didn't talk about it. But anyway, let me just talk about this because it does pertain to Social Security based on these remarks here. Okay, so anyway, within this big reconciliation bill, which was signed into law by the president on July 4th, right? So a few weeks ago now, actually almost a month ago now. Wow. Yeah, tomorrow being August 1st. Nuts, right? I'm just realizing, wow, last day of July right here. Okay, anyway. So anyway, it was signed into law on the 4th of July by the president, right? This massive reconciliation bill, the tax cut bill, the OBBB Act, right? That one. But anyway, one of the provisions within it is these child or baby savings accounts. Have you heard about this? So basically what it is, it's a new savings account essentially so that any baby that is born basically January 1st of 2025 through, December 31st of 2028, will get these accounts and have $1,000 from the government just deposited in there, right? So just a free $1,000 for this new baby, okay? Obviously, they can't touch the money. They can't just like grab the money and go shopping. Nope, can't do that. But whatever, this account is set up and anybody can contribute money into it, like parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, friends, neighbors, like anybody can deposit money into the account on the behalf of that child until they turn 18. The annual contribution into the account is $5,000. So whatever. Okay, so I've done a little bit of research on this. Honestly, I haven't read a ton about it because I just don't plan on talking about it, right? But anyway, according to what they've said is that this account, oh, by the way, it's invested into the market, like into the stock market, into index funds, okay? Anyway, I'm getting to the part about Social Security here in just a second, okay? So just hang with me. I'm just kind of giving the groundwork here on what this whole thing is. But anyway, if the money was just sat there, no extra money was put into it, they said it could grow from $1,000 up to between $3,000 and $13,000 if no additional money was added. But if it was maxed out annually, it could potentially be worth over $600,000 by the time that baby that's born now turns 18. They could have $600,000+, depending on a variety of factors, which is a lot of money to hand over to an 18-year-old. Not sure about you, but if I were 18 and handed 600 grand, I would have done some really bad things. I'm just saying, okay, that would not have been a smart deal. At least in my situation, I certainly can't speak for everybody. I just know that I would have been very reckless. Not a good idea, in my opinion, okay? Anyway, that's just my personal situation. I'm just saying that, okay? Obviously, there's a lot of other people out there that are probably smarter than me, at least when I was 18. But anyway, okay, so with that, the Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, made some remarks on that. basically suggesting that it's a backdoor way into privatizing Social Security. Okay. Well, as you can imagine, lawmakers are pouncing on this. They are going absolute wild. They're having a cow. They're going just nuts on this, right? They are just freaking out. They're losing their minds and they just can't believe it. And they say, see, told you so. We knew you were going to privatize Social Security. And they're just having a field day over this. And they're just going nuts about this and saying, see, he slipped up, and just basically saying, oh, this is the whole plan this whole time to privatize Social Security. Now, I want to just clarify this. They're not privatizing Social Security. They would have to go through so many hoops and have to go through so much work on a congressional level to privatize Social Security. It's not happening. Okay, that's the thing is they talk about these things and they make a bunch of headlines, but what they don't do is look in the mirror and say, oh, in order to privatize it, we would have to vote on it. Oh, I guess we didn't think about that. That's not going to happen anytime soon. Duh. Yeah, it's not going to happen anytime soon because it's not. Okay? Anyway, so these brainless lawmakers are talking about this and making it sound like, oh, they're coming in and privatizing Social Security right away. That's not happening, okay? But anyway, that's just what this whole situation is about, and you've probably seen this out there based on these remarks. Now, obviously, they've been trying to walk that back a little bit and be like, oh, the Treasury Secretary didn't really mean that. It's not a way to backdoor privatize Social Security, okay? Social Security is going to be around for a very long time, even though we've got some major financial issues coming up in not that many years, like literally 6.5 years, 7 years maybe. We've got some major problems here, okay? I don't think people realize. I mean, obviously, all of you here in this community, you know this as well as I do. I don't think these lawmakers are really paying attention. We're not far away from major financial issues within Social Security. I mean, we're talking like 6.5 years. It's not that far out from right now, and we've got some major issues, okay? That's not what this video is about, but all I'm just saying is that aside from that, this program's been around for almost 90 years. In fact, the 90th birthday of Social Security is coming up in the middle of August. 90 years. 1935 is when it was signed into law, the Social Security Act, right? 1935, 90 years ago. Wow. So anyway, the whole situation being this whole privatizing of Social Security, okay? So first off, I've said this a few times, not happening. It's not going to happen anytime soon. I would not worry about that. However, I want to point something out really quickly. We saw this a few years ago. Maybe it was 2 years ago. I'm not sure exactly when it was. But a couple years ago, when we were talking about this whole thing again around the same time of year, kind of March, April, May timeframe. Actually, yeah, April, Mayish timeframe. When the annual Social Security Board of Trustees report comes out, that's about the timeframe that it comes out. It came out later this year. For whatever reason, it came out in like sometime in June, but usually comes out kind of like a late April, early May timeframe. But anyway, it was around this time frame a couple years ago. We had a few lawmakers that came out and said, we need to start thinking about and considering and setting up the framework now for a Social Security replacement. They talked about this. I talked about it at the time. The videos of me talking about this are literally still here on the channel. You'd have to scroll back a lot of videos, like probably 3,000 videos to find it. I have no idea what the even title would be on that. It's from years ago, a few years ago. But videos are still here on the channel talking about it. Again, you could find them if you wanted to. It would take a very long time, to be fair with you. But anyway, that's kind of the situation, is that, yes, Social Security is good, but the way that they structured this program and the way that things are going and the finances of the program, realistically, it's not going to be all that many more years until they will need to find a legitimate replacement to this program, not for current beneficiaries, but for future beneficiaries who are who? Yeah, babies and like little kids right now, right? So the point being is that these statements out of the Treasury Secretary, talking about possibly, this whole child savings account, this whole thing that came out of the OBBB Act, again, signed into law like almost a month ago here, about this potentially being the way to privatize Social Security. Yeah, for younger generations that are like being born right now, absolutely it is. Why? Because in 18 years, when this money becomes available to them, for the earliest recipients of this that are just getting these accounts right now, between 18 and say 22 years from right now, yeah, 100% for sure, there probably will be some kind of replacement or something for these younger generations that are just being born now so that they have something, because Social Security at that point is probably going to look very, very different, right? Here's the deal. We're only 6.5, maybe 7 years away from a massive situation that could reduce benefit checks significantly. I mean, we're talking 19, 23, even 24 plus percent based on the most recent reports that have come out. That's just what they're talking about now. And when we fast forward another 6.5, 7 years, and we get very close to this insolvency issue, we could be looking at cuts to benefits significantly larger than that. Upper 20%, 30 plus percent. That's what we could be seeing based on the finances of this program and whatever happens over the next 6 to 7 years. So yeah, absolutely. So these remarks out of the Treasury Secretary, in my opinion, as I mentioned earlier, are honestly not that far-fetched. I say for sure, 100%. For these younger generations, Social Security, again, the younger generations that are being born now and are going to be born in the next, 1 to 4 years or so, they probably do need to consider some kind of replacement of Social Security, because it's probably not going to be there realistically, right? So let's just say that a child is born today, right? Okay, they're right now, they're like minutes or hours old. Okay, I'm just using this as an example. In 18 years, provided, they have this whole baby account set up for them, right? By the way, it's supposed to be automatic apparently. And it's set up for them. 18 years, that money becomes available to them. But then in 67 years, as of right now, they potentially become eligible for Social Security. Does anybody really think that Social Security is going to be around, in the same way that it is today in 67-ish years? I think the program is going to look very, very different, right? If it even exists in the first place. But my point being behind all of this is that current beneficiaries, you're fine. You've got nothing to worry about right now whatsoever at all. Social Security will not be privatized in any way, shape, or form for the foreseeable future. It just will not be. Lawmakers would need to do this, and what lawmakers keep forgetting about is they have to be the ones to vote on it, because they keep pointing the finger and be like, "Oh, they're gonna privatize this," and it's like, do they have a brain? Do they not realize that they have to be the ones that vote on it, right? And it's not just like, oh, we're going to get like 10 votes and we're going to pass this thing. No, it needs a majority, a minimum of 60 in the Senate to get anything like this done, right? So, yeah, that's not happening anytime soon. All right, anyway, which, by the way, we've also heard, and again, I've talked about this extensively over the last several years here, we've heard from very high-profile people out there suggesting it's only a matter of time here. It's only a matter of a couple years, realistically, at the pace that AI and automation, robotics and technology is advancing right now. It is scary. It is scary, right? In fact, I'll tell you a quick little story. This is actually interesting. I went outside today. I was playing around with an AI chatbot today. I was actually using Grok. Okay, it's Elon's AI. Don't hate me. I like to play around with all of them just to see if they all offer something a little bit different. But today I literally went outside and I took a picture of something and I was like, hey, can you render me some photos with, with some tree coverage here and there, and I was like explaining exactly what I wanted, and it literally made me photos of like exactly what I prompted it to do. And then I I texted the pictures to Corey, and I was like, hey, you like the trees that I planted today? And she's like, did you plant those? And I was like, yeah, today. And I was like, no, obviously I didn't plant a bunch of trees today. But I was like, no, it was AI. But my point being is that like you can do some wild things with this stuff. And it's like super interesting how advanced it is getting. Point being is that we're going to see a massive shift in our overall economy. We're going to see a massive shift in the need for humans in the next few years here. It's scary to see all this. So we're seeing this shifting. Anyway, long story short is that we've seen from very high profile people, a lot of them coming out suggesting that we really need to, yet again, set up the framework now to establish a basic income, again, fill in the blank with whatever you want to call it, a basic income, universal basic income, guaranteed basic income, universal high income, UBI, GBI, UHI, whatever. Again, there's like a million different names for the same thing. But anyway, they're suggesting, hey, we got to set the infrastructure up now because it's only a matter of years until we see massive, massive unemployment and tons of people that are basically out of work because they're replaced with a chatbot or AI or robots or whatever, right? And that's not that many years out from now. But anyway, at that point, that's kind of like somewhat of already some kind of replacement for like a Social Security, right? A basic income, a guaranteed income, something like that, or a negative income tax. Have you heard me talk about that over the years? That's an interesting concept from what's the guy's name? Milton Friedman, I think it was, right? Super smart. I think he was an economist, maybe. Some way back in like I don't know. I think it was the 60s or 70s. This whole idea came up. We're establishing this negative income tax, where basically anybody that has an income below the national average would basically get a check cut to them from the Treasury every single year, and anybody above the national average would then obviously pay in through taxes. So it'd be like this negative income tax. But anyway, they've already talked about many different ways of basically establishing some type of guaranteed income. Now, what is Social Security? It's a guaranteed income, is it not? I mean, it's basically a guaranteed income program, right? I mean, it's literally set up. Obviously, nobody can just draw on it whenever they want, but it's a guaranteed basic income essentially for retirees or people that become disabled at some point during their working career and can no longer work at the capacity that they once did. They have this thing called Social Security, which they pay into their whole entire life through payroll taxes, and it is set there in the event of a disability at some point, or when somebody has paid in for years and years and years and decades of their life and they get to retire one day, they have this income that they can draw on for basically the rest of their life that will pay them forever, right? So, literally the same concept, a different name. Same concept, different name. Interesting, right? All right, anyway, I really went down a couple different rabbit holes here. I did not mean to do that. I just find this stuff to be so fascinating. If you just really look at the big picture and what's really going on, like the infrastructure for all this is literally like there. We've had so many people talk about it. They give it a different name every single time, but it's basically all essentially the same thing. Okay. So anyway, if you've been seeing these remarks out there, if you've been seeing anybody else talk about, oh, the Treasury Secretary wants to privatize Social Security. Okay, here's the deal. It's not going to be anytime soon. And if they do want to privatize Social Security, and if they want to set up some kind of savings account for new babies that are being born now and over the next 4 years, who cares? I don't know. That's my opinion. Who cares? Let them do it. Why? Because a baby born today won't even be able to see a penny of Social Security for a minimum of 67 years as of now. That'll probably change, by the way. Probably by the time that they get there, it'll probably be more like 70, 72, something like that. That's a long time to cross our fingers and hope that Social Security will still be around in 67, 70, 72 years, right? I don't know about that. I don't know if, yeah, who knows what's going to happen at that point, right? So anyway, just wanted to clarify that. I've been seeing this out in the headlines so many times, and this guy's getting roasted over it. And again, I'm not here to stick up for him. I'm just here to give you the clarification behind all this, because a lot of times when you see these different headlines out there, it doesn't really tell you the whole picture. A lot of these articles that are out there are very one-sided. And I do my very best in these videos right here to not be one-sided. I try to give it to you straight as much as I can. Obviously, some of my videos lean one side or the other. That's just the nature of the game of talking about news and information like that. Unfortunately, that's kind of how it has to be. So I try to be as neutral as I possibly can. I'm not here to, upset people. I'm not here to make people mad. I'm not here to discourage or instill fear. That's not my style. That's not what I'm trying to do. But rather, I'm trying to give you information so we can all understand what's actually going on and kind of what's going on with the program, right? So anyway, I'm here to translate information and to just break it down for you. For those of you that may be receiving Social Security or, will be at some point, or any type of low income, fixed income, all the different topics that I talk about here, mostly focused around fixed income, low income, obviously Social Security, all the benefits administered by Social Security, all the details like that. Okay. Anyway, we'll wrap this up here very soon here. One last side note. We're likely going to be getting some very big announcements in the next day or two or three, or who knows. Based on how things are going this year, it seems like things are very delayed. I'm going to say this much. In the next one day to 2 weeks, I'm going to say that, we're likely to be getting some pretty big and pivotal information coming out on food stamps. Stand by. If you're on food stamps, SNAP benefits, Have an EBT card, stand by. I'll bring you those updates as soon as we get them, but we will be getting a pretty big announcement. Just hold tight. I'll keep you informed as we get that information. I'll be here for you and break it all down. So anyway, stay tuned. Otherwise, please have a nice day. Hope this helps you. By the way, if you are in the New York, Jersey area, something like that, I've been seeing a lot of headlines today so far. Apparently, they are seeing some massive flash flooding right now. I don't know. Seems weird, scary. If you're in that area, please stay safe out there. I don't know what you do in a flash flood. I don't know, honestly. I don't know. Anyway, all my point is just please stay safe. That's all that really matters, okay? Anyway, I'm here for you. Please let me know what I can do for you. Drop some comments down below. Give me feedback. Let me have it. Seriously, good, bad, ugly, I don't care. Just let me know. I'm here for you, okay? Anyway, please have a nice evening. Enjoy. Thanks again for watching this. Really appreciate it. Subscribe if you're new here if you want. If you don't want to, that's okay too. By the way, if you have not called Chapter to get help with your Medicare, if you're turning 65 or retiring, if you call them, which, by the way, like 4,000 of you here in the community have already done so. The phone number is not here, on the screen at the moment. It's not down below, but it will be very soon. It's all over on the videos and in the channel on other videos. But anyway, after you call them and talk to them, by the way, it's 100% for free. Leave a comment down below. I've been giving a bunch of shout outs lately to different people, and would love to feature you and give you a shout out in a future video. Just use the word chapter within your comment. That's the keyword that I search for to find the comments, and I'd love to feature you. And by the way, in the community posts as well that I post, a couple per week, I like to give shout outs there as well. So anyway, let me know how it goes. Hopefully they'll save you a ton of money like they've already saved a ton of people here in the community. The phone number will be down below at the top of the chat box and in the description in a few minutes here. Otherwise, it's on the channel. Look for it there, or in any other videos, you'll probably see it there. Anyway, they'll help you with your Medicare. If you're turning 65 or retiring, they will help you with your initial enrollment and make sure that you are properly covered, finding you the best plan for you and your personal needs, as we all need something very, very different. All right, anyway, have a good day. Have a good one. Thanks for watching this, and I'll catch you later. Okay, let's see what happens.